I wanted to welcome Christine to Proud Product Peeps. Thanks for joining, and it's great seeing you after, what has it been, a couple of years, I think?
I think so, just about 2 years. I know. I'm so happy to be here with you, Justin. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, my pleasure. I mean, we worked together for, I don't remember how long it was. Time goes, morphs into itself after a certain period of time, but maybe 12, 18, 24 months. But that was a wonderful experience. You ran the partnership team. You worked with Microsoft and others, some great moments and stories from those experiences. But actually, before we get into anything like that and what you're most proud of, I find it interesting. You're a New York Giants fan, which is American football, and you ran into Eli Manning one time, which I do want to hear about. But you also raise greyhounds, if I recall. And I think that those two couldn't be the more contradictory things: a greyhound and Eli Manning.
Well,
But
actually, they're both very fast.
Eli Manning is not fast. He's the opposite of fast. But tell me a little bit about your run-in or your meet with Eli Manning.
Yeah. So I've been a Giants fan my whole life. My dad and my brother growing up, I just got used to Sunday football watching. And then I figured, you know what? I have to learn the game. I'm going to be around this my whole life. I eventually went on to be a cheerleader for football. So, it really helped me to understand the game and become a Giants fan. So I was in New Orleans with a friend of mine, Tiffany, and we were there around Mardi Gras time. And we were in the local community. We're not anywhere near Bourbon Street. We were where the people in New Orleans go for Mardi Gras activities. And we were on the street watching a parade. And all of a sudden, she starts elbowing me. Eli, the Mannings are from New Orleans. And I didn't know, but we were on the street around the corner from their house. So she starts elbowing me, and she's making these faces. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? And she's like, Eli Manning. So I look over, and sure enough, the entire Manning family, they're standing there on the street. Eli Manning's up on a ladder with his kids so his kids can catch all the fun stuff that they throw off the floats in the parade, And I'm like, oh my gosh. So of course I'm trying to take pictures. So he comes down off the ladder at some point. She drags me over and she's like, hi, Eli, this is Christine. She's a New York Giants fan. She has season tickets. And he's just standing there like, what the heck? I'm at this parade with my family and this crazy New York Giants fan comes up to me. And she was like, would you take a picture with her? And he was like, of course. He was very he was very gracious and he was really friendly and funny and stuff. But by the way, he is gigantic. Like on the TV, everybody looks average. And when I was standing next to him, he's like 2 feet taller than me. So, but it was fun. It was embarrassing, but I got a great picture out of it. So it was all good.
That's amazing. I think that actually, the Manning family have big heads. I think that's how bobbleheads were invented. I think that was based off of their family. But
Yeah.
it is interesting. If your friend wasn't there, would you have done anything close to going and introducing yourself? Yeah, I always find it interesting, the different types of people. Like, I'm the one that just makes like a stupid, sarcastic comment. Like, I try not to, bother anybody, ask for an autograph. And then there's people
Exactly.
that are just like these like hounds, in there. And whenever I run
100%.
into somebody, it's how do you have a natural conversation? That didn't seem like a natural conversation.
Not at all. And in my thing, I'm like, he's here with his kids. He doesn't want to talk about the job. And this was when he was playing. This was back at the time when he was the QB. So, I wanted to have him have his time with his kids. But no, my friend was like, you're here, he's here, you're meeting him. I'm like, okay.
That's awesome. So I grew up in Connecticut. I was actually a Yankees Jets fan, which is, for those that don't know, it's usually Yankees Giants, Mets Jets, and I had a friend in high school who was a huge Cowboys fan. And at the time, my mom was dating the director of stadium operations for Giant Stadium. And he got us these like amazing suite passes. I took my friends, and it was a Giants versus Cowboys game. I got my friends Cowboys jacket and wore it into this suite where it's just all Giants fans.
Oh my
Anyhow, we
gosh.
weren't invited back, and I think they broke. I think they broke up shortly thereafter. So that's my that's my
No doubt,
Giants.
no doubt. Yeah, we're really not too keen on Cowboys fans, apparently.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Um,
my sister is a Jets fan and she is also a Yankees fan. So you have another kindred spirit there.
yes. Yes. Although when I moved down to Charlotte, I became a Carolina Panthers fan, which
Makes
I
sense.
really don't know what could be worse, a Jets or a Panthers fan these days, like over the last N number of years. So
True.
you have a lot of great stories and memorable interactions. There was one that you had, I think, at one point with Neil Rosenberg. And I find it interesting that usually 1 to 2 interactions or instances seem to shape people's careers and lives
Yeah.
and all of that. Forget the meeting Eli Manning. I'm talking about something of substance. But you want to talk a little bit about your interaction with Neil?
Yeah. So at my very first job out of school, I worked at Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey. I worked in the contracts department, and it was sort of this was going a ways back, but it was kind of an IT department in a way because we were the middle people between what the salespeople sold and what the coders put into the benefit system, and we had to try to, manipulate and make everything work together. And it was a very interesting job. But I worked for Neil there, and he was a wonderful leader. He was an innovator with how to use technology to solve business problems. And I clung to him. I knew that he was somebody that I wanted to have in my career and be a mentor and, continue to have that relationship with him. And so lo and behold, after a few years, he said to me that he wanted to go and leave the company and start a technology company and asked if I would join him. And what an honor that was to be asked to be a part of starting a business. And this was in the 90s, so technology was, personal computers and Windows, that was all blowing up. And it was an exciting time. And that relationship with Neil and that experience really put my career on a whole new trajectory because through starting that company, Quality Technology Solutions, I had to learn how to do everything in a company. I was a 24-year-old young adult in the career world, and I had to learn how to sell. I had to learn how to build a computer. I had to learn how to do troubleshooting, how to do HR, how to do marketing. Really, it was this crash MBA course in real life about how to run a business, how to hire people, how to keep people, how to make customers happy, how to report to boards. And it just was this amazing experience that changed my life. And we did that for 27 years. It was a successfully run business that we sold. And, I take everything I learned, the good, the bad, and the ugly from that journey with me every day in every job that I
Hmm.
do and in every relationship that I have. I think about all that stuff that I learned, and I'm so grateful for it.
And do you relate and think often about, the break or the interaction that you had with Neil and how that set off? I mean, obviously you did a lot on your own and,
Hmm.
and made yourself into that, but do you believe in like there are 1 to 2, 3 interactions in someone's career that kind of, shape who they're going to be and where they go? Do you attribute a lot of that to that interaction?
I do. Neil served as a mentor for me. And one of the things that I super appreciated about what he taught me or his leadership or just the way he chose to act was that he was always an ally. And this was before allies were the word even was discussed, right? He always made space for me. He put me on a platform. He always helped to build my skills so that I would be successful independent of him. And I saw his allyship in action in meetings where people would defer. Like I would be presenting in a client meeting, and the clients would always go look at him and ask him the questions, right? And I just remember that's a defining moment. And a lot of people would just answer, right, because they were uncomfortable. They would just go to answer, and he would say, this is Christine's meeting. So why don't you ask Christine that question? Like he never, wavered from making sure that I was supported. And, I super appreciated that. And it's something that made me conscious of that and how I lead and manage other people as well. And, so it's just things that he did like that definitely stood out and impacted, my career as I went on in terms of what I expected other people to do for me, as well as what I, look to do for other people.
That's amazing. And I'm going to ask you the whole purpose of the show and what you're most proud of. But I, I would say majority of my career and life, I would say I've learned what not to do. And there are very few
Hmm.
instances of learning, positive behavior from somebody. And maybe that's just the
Yeah.
type of person that I am. But it's great that you have a mentor, an ally, somebody that you could say, "Hey, I like how they do this, and it benefits."
Yeah.
I don't know what you think, and you run across different folks that you do learn a lot of what not to do. But this is
Hmm.
great story and example of there are good things out there, good people, and good interactions.
Well, and I'll just add one thing onto that. In the beginning, Neil and I are very different people, different personalities and
Hmm.
different styles, not only by gender, but also just how we operate. And in the beginning, it was a struggle because we would be at odds a little bit because of those differences. As we matured, both personally and as leaders, we came to understand and respect those differences, because
Hmm.
maybe when we were younger it was more a competition of who would win the fight, but then it became, hey, wait a minute, this is something I need his input on because I'm not good at that. He's great at factoring this in, and that's a weakness of mine. Let me use him to help me make this decision or take this action. And we once that shift happened in relationship of business owners or leadership team people, once you can look at folks and not certainly how you can be better than them, do better than them, but how you can use them to help you and how you can help them to achieve a greater goal together, that is really and I wonder what you think about that, all the leadership teams that you've been on. But once we hit that, it was almost like then it became like a magic sauce and made us even stronger. And that's another lesson that I learned, is when I'm working with teams, how can their strengths help me and complement me instead of being competitive.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I think that there is a yellow flag when someone says, "Oh, we have complementary skills. This is going to be great." It's really the where it goes red is if they're actually willing to think differently based off of the other person's skills and
Hmm.
approach and all of that. And it's green if they're really, say, "Hey, I'm good at this, you're good at this, let's, kind of form a team." That's definitely where strength finders and all those views come
Yeah.
from. You're executing, I'm strategy or whatever. Like usually those people don't get along. How do you make sure to say, "Hey, you both offer value"? But it's the openness and willingness to actually adapt based on the other person's skills that you might have grown up thinking differently and all that. But it's the openness and willingness. That's what makes it a green flag. And the total closed downness of somebody who says, "Oh, you're complementary skills," but zero desire to do anything about it.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. With that, what are you most proud of?
Well, I have to say that is probably one of the top two things that I am most proud of, is that whole journey. But that led me to the second thing that I'm most proud of, and that is that I am a co-founder of the WIT Network. I'm currently serve as the CEO. The WIT Network is a global nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting women in technology. And what's fascinating is that all of those skills and the experiences that I learned through QTS, I'm now applying as the leader of the WIT Network. And so what started out as a passion project, building out communities of women around the world to come together, now elevated that to an actual full blown company, an organization that is providing corporate memberships to technology companies, educational opportunities for women to build skills, global network. We have over 14,000 women around the world who participate in the network. And we're just doing our part to try to help change the world, a little bit by giving women access to the skills that they need to help get promoted and scale their careers. And so every day is a good day for me. It may be I have stress just like everybody else. I have a very, very busy schedule. But at the end of the day, I know that everything that I do is all worth it because we're helping people. And I know that because they send me beautiful notes and emails and, LinkedIn messages about how they attended something and it really was meaningful to them and it helped them get a promotion, get an acknowledgement from their manager, get a raise, get a new job, whatever. We know that the metrics are there that we are helping women. So I'm really proud of that.
I love that, and I know that I'm ridiculously supportive of the whole thing. But when you were saying like, "Oh, I know it because they send me," in my mind, I thought you were going to say money, but you said thank you notes and flowers, which I think is, like if you could get paid in that, that's great. But no, I mean, what you're doing is unbelievable. And I don't know if you know this. I actually brought it up in my podcast with Karen Chastain. You said at one point, one of the most top, probably, let's say top three most profound things that I had ever heard. And it was when we were going through the process of trying to understand, how to, get more women to be in product, to
Mm-hmm.
get more, women to take the chance of going for a role that they might not have had. And you said, when we are going through like surveys and we are going through the mentor program and trying to really build something out, you said, hey, look, men will apply for a job knowing that they don't have most of the skills, whereas women, they need to feel normally usually they need to feel like they have all the skills before they're willing to kind of stretch for it. And that was like a
Yeah.
super profound moment for me, is that forget like all the other differences and thoughts and approaches, how do we enable somebody to feel comfortable that they don't need to have all the skills? And I think it's like a comfort level of like being there to support somebody in that growth. And there is that foundational difference that you explicitly said that you've noticed and observed between men and women. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was unbelievably
Yeah,
profound.
it's not even what I've observed. It's actually there's research and statistics on it that they've interviewed men and women around the world, and yeah, it is true. Women will sort of wait for permission. They'll wait for, am I 100% right? Because I want to really do my best and knock it out of the park and make everybody proud. And if I'm not 100%, then I'm not qualified, right? Where a gentleman may look at it and say, I got 40% of what's needed. I know I can do this, and they'll apply. And neither is wrong, but it's like, how can we, help each other understand that the mentality of how we look at those opportunities and maybe meet a little bit more in the middle, right? So the women need to come up a little bit more in the confidence and go for it if you're 60 or 80%. And, and so, and also, how can, what I try to encourage is, because a lot of men will say, how can I help? How can I be an ally? And I think, you and I had some conversations around this. Men can be an incredible coach and mentor to women in even just this conversation, but many conversations where men are stronger with confidence than women are, right? And so I always try to say, hey, find some women on your team or in your org, and just start conversations and help them see and understand how you look at these opportunities, because maybe you will help them, push them to strive to be a little bit more confident and go for those opportunities. And I think that's why historically more men have been promoted, more men have gotten jobs, because women held themselves back. And so that's something that we can learn from men.
Do you have explicit tactics that you help provide to for women to overcome this specific area or to address it?
Well, we've had, we've been in business for 6 years now. So we've had a ton of webinar topics on this, because we all know that we have to I think it's going to be repetitive, driving that repetitive message. Do not wait. It really is just be bold, go for it. We just have tons of content. We have tons of content about that. We're still talking about it. People still submit sessions to me that they want to talk about inspiring women to, be bold, take charge, go for it. Don't wait for permission. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to check every single box on the job description. And also inspiring women to even do some career shifting where maybe you're always, you've been in this lane for 20 years or 10 years and, you want to come over here. And it's okay to do that. You don't need permission because many skills are transferable to different roles within an org, to different industries. We're trying to inspire women. You don't have to. That's where I think men too will do a good job saying, I can go over there and, take my experience and do just as good of a job over here in finance when I've been in healthcare my whole life. They don't even think twice about it. Whereas a woman will hold herself back and say, oh, I'm not in that industry. Like, I'm not going to get that job. But no, right? So we're trying to inspire this transition and these changes and this confidence level on a multitude of different angles.
Hmm. And you have 14,000 members worldwide,
Yeah.
you said.
Hmm.
Is there any differences, major differences between regions, let's say US versus UK versus, continental Europe that
No,
you've identified? No, pretty
no.
much the same. Yeah.
I interview women all the time on different continents and different time zones, speaking different languages, and ask them because we're always evolving our programming. And, I will say to them, what are the issues you're facing? What kind of support do you need? And it doesn't matter where they live, they all say the same exact things. They really are looking for mentors. That's a big, if I could give one
Hmm.
shout out to companies to say, what can you do to support women is to have a full blown mentoring program because that's something where every company is different. You know this, right? Politics, how you navigate up, no matter whether you're a man or a woman. And so having those mentors to help guide women in the company for success is so important. So that's something that I hear a lot. Definitely access to networks so that they can either meet other people with like-minded concerns and they can get support, not feel alone, or meet people who can help connect them to partners, customers, job opportunities. Right? We all know how important your network is. In large part, a lot of my success, especially with the WIT network, has come from building and nurturing a big network, right? Which I'm grateful for. And then lastly, it's access to education. They all say the same thing. We need to build skills. Our companies don't offer a lot of educational programs, or I don't have, access to technology training that I need to do my job better and to help myself get promoted and move up the ladder. So it doesn't really matter. There's issues the same all around.
Seems like it's trash day at your.
Yes, it is.
uh,
Right outside my window.
all good human element. Hey, I think you were there and I think you're an integral part of this. Come to think of it, was that we realized that there's mentors and then there's mentees, and that you shouldn't choose one or the other. That people have things they want to learn and people have things that they want to teach.
Yep.
And we ended up creating a mentor mentee where you could sign up for both. That, hey, I want to learn about this. I feel like I have skills in this, and I think that it became a very interesting exercise because there is an element of confidence when you teach. That everybody says like, oh, well, go and teach it and you'll learn the material a lot more. But it is also on the soft skills of how do you navigate something. And everybody in this world has something that they are good at. And it's up to managers, it's up to yourself, it's up to people around you to help figure out what that is. And I think that mentor mentee helped to provide some confidence. And I think it was like 80% of people signed up for both, which I was shocked at.
Yeah, we've actually implemented something called WIT Connects, which is a global membership directory platform specifically for mentoring. And so women can go in there, they can select the top 3 skills that they feel confident mentoring other people on. as well as the top three skills they're looking for a mentor on. And we do see that you're absolutely right. Women are picking both. They know the importance of a mentorship relationship and how it can impact them. They want to pay it forward, so they offer up to be a mentor, but then they know that they still need it, no matter what level they're at, to help them get to the next level in their career.
Yeah, I love that. That was eye opening for me as well because it's usually a binary thing, like you're one or the other. And then it was no, everybody has something to offer. Everybody has something to learn. I mean, what you're most proud of? I get chills just hearing you talk about it. I mean, a vast majority of folks that I've had on the podcast really do talk about. The thing that they're most proud of is helping other people in one way or another, creating something that people get value from, but it almost entirely is surrounded by the ability, desire to help other people. And it is interesting with so much negativity and the perceived lack of humanity and all of that, like in these micro moments, even if it's just one person or 14,000 in your case, the ability to help somebody and you're making a living off of it, like that must be, overarching. Like it just must give you chills and goosebumps.
It does. And I try to write my gratitude journal every day, that I don't take one day for granted that I have the privilege to serve and use my skills in this way, not only to build programs that impact a larger community, but even the immediate team around me that choose to spend their time supporting me in, their skills, marketing, finance, programs, sales, those interactions that I have helping to coach and mentor my team, essentially, that is so rewarding too, right? So I can take all
Hmm.
this experience that I've had and try to empower them, teach them what I've learned, empower them on their journey to then provide all of these services to the larger community. And
Hmm.
it's just one positive circle of humanity, and
Hmm.
it's just wonderful to see. And it just, yeah, it makes my day. It really does. And I am very, very proud. I get emotional a lot.
Well, luckily the garbage pickup probably offsets that, so you're like kind of like even.
Yeah, it was leaf pickup day here in Asbury
Oh.
Park.
So I could talk to you about this forever, but I do want to ask you some questions selfishly because I'm always interested in people's favorite shows and books and all that stuff. But what's your favorite book or show or movie that you've watched or seen or read in the last year?
Well, I love the show Shrinking. Have you seen that on Apple TV?
Yes, that's one of the ones that when it comes out, we watch that week as opposed to
Me
binge
too.
watch. So
Yeah, I have to
yes.
catch up on last week's, but I mean, I love Ted Lasso, and it was some of the executive producers of Ted Lasso that brought this show. I stumbled upon it. Um, I love Harrison Ford dearly, and Jason Segel. I just love the storytelling. I think each character is on a great journey, and they are vulnerable, and they have some level of failure that they're overcoming, and it cracks me up. I love the wit. I love the sarcastic wit of the show. I think that's the best part. So I really,
No pun
really,
intended, the wit.
no pun intended. That's true.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. And like that was definitely a deeper evaluation of it. The humor and all that is super interesting. But I like how you said it actually, is that like they're all vulnerable and they're all going through something, and like everybody is. And most of the time when we were growing up, probably it was, everybody had to be, macho. They had to have everything
Hmm.
together. And like there
Yep.
were shows or examples where people didn't. But it's more and more these days that it's like, yeah, everybody is going through something. And just that type of show, really brings it out. So,
Yeah, that's
um,
exactly right.
yes, yes. I think that Dean Barker is going to be sad that you didn't say one of his books was one of your favorites, but we don't have to go through that. I try to make
He's
fun
a
of that guy
legend.
every time.
Dean's definitely a legend. So
Yes, yes, he definitely thinks he is. So yes. Well, just wanted to say thank you for joining, and it's wonderful to see you again.
Thank
And
you.
amazing, amazing work with what you're doing with the WIT. And thanks for coming on and sharing that.
Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for including me. You've been a true ally since I met you on day one, and I remember. I remember, Karen Chastain is your number one fan, and she has talked about you for like 15 years, as long as she's worked for you. And I remember, she just really thought you were an incredible leader, so great at what you did. I'm just giving a little plug for you right now because she really did over years. And I said, oh, if I ever go anywhere, I'd love to work for Justin someday. And then I did have, this great opportunity to work with you for a short time at Optimizely. And I did love that. I was so grateful I got a little bit adjusted in my career.
Oh,
But you always had a great energy about you, and you always listened to people. You made time for people, and you made a way for other people. And as a leader, I can't stress how important that is. That impacts a person's like personal experience at their job when they're heard, when they're seen, when somebody opens a door and makes space for them at the table, and even by you giving me a little bit of platform here to talk about the WIT Network. These things are important. I wouldn't otherwise have access to that. And that's why your leadership is respected and people really care about you, and they're following you wherever you go because they still want to be a part of what you're doing. So I just want to say thank you to you for being that leader for people and an inspiration. And your work has been meaningful to others. So thank you.
oh, thank you so much. That was uncalled for, but appreciated.
Are you going to cut that out? Are you going to cut that part out?
No, yeah, no. You're the only person that has said something nice to me, so that's the entire show.
I'm good with that. So, thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
I really appreciate it, Justin.
Yeah, same here. Thank you, Christine.
Okay.